Hi, I'm Jill Gilliamball, infant and early childhood mental health consultant at the Children's Resource Center in Bowling Green, Ohio. Now that the holiday season is kind of officially upon us, I really just wanted to take a few minutes today to kind of talk about the impact of holiday stressors and the importance of self care on parents and caregivers. We know that this time of year generally creates a lot of stress for most of us. We also know that 2020 kind of adds another layer due to stressors from COVID 19. Um, we all react differently to stressors. Parents and caregivers have a lot on their plate just on a daily basis. Um, when we're adding in kind of all of those holiday activities and traditions and to-dos, that can really kind of just add to our stress level. It's really important to recognize that young children are what we would call a co-regulator, which just means that they're kind of looking to us and our kind of way of being, and they really are absorbing that. They are not going to be, they can't be in a state that's calmer, more relaxed, and more peaceful than their caregiver. Um, if we're stressed and we're having a difficult time and we're struggling, we have to recognize that they're going to be as well. That is how their brains are made, and that is how their bodies are wired right now. They need us, and we have to kind of be that calm for them. So, having said that, we also know there's a lot of stressors in our lives this time of year, particularly. So, what can we do to kind of manage these stress levels? We really have to recognize that there is a strong component to maintaining our physical health. Particularly in 2020, we should be following kind of those CDC guidelines for our area. And, if we can wear our masks and we can physically distance and do some of those things that um, increase our chances of kind of staying safe and healthy and keeping our family safe and healthy, that really can reduce some of our stress level. We also have to make sleep a priority. Having said that, recognizing that adults quite frequently let sleep go and it doesn't maintain as a priority in their life when they have a very hectic schedule and a lot of things to do. So, really thinking about this holiday season, how you can make sleep a priority, whether you have to uh, set yourself a bedtime and stick to it, or whatever that may be, that you're making sure you're getting good restful sleep. Another thing that's going to kind of reduce those stress levels, if we keep our kiddos routines intact. We know that it's kind of how our brains are wired. Kids thrive off of structure and predictability. We know there's a lot of extra added things this time of year. So, really kind of taking that into consideration and maintaining those routines as best as possible, especially those bedtime routines and those bedtimes. Sleep is just as much a priority for them as it is for us. We know if they're not getting enough sleep or as much sleep as typical, the next day is going to be a little bit more difficult for all of us. We also have to recognize that eating healthy foods, and balanced, nutritious meals is just really important. That's hard this time of year because there's a lot of sugary goodness and sweets and a lot of tasty treats out there. So, definitely making sure that we're staying kind of nutritious and balanced. And also, exercise is important for our physical and our mental health. There's tons of benefits to that physical activity. There's also barriers this time of year, from being busy to, I mentioned earlier, being in Ohio. There's snow and ice on the ground as I record this. So, taking those things all into consideration and thinking about how we can still make exercise a priority and work it into our day. We also have to talk about ways that we can nourish our mental, emotional, and social health. We know that we do this by connecting with others. We also recognize that there's some 2020 barriers to connecting with others. So can we be creative? Have you gotten on Zoom? Have you tried FaceTime? Looking at some of those technological advances and trying to figure out ways that we can stay connected with our loved ones if we're not able to kind of physically be with them. The next one, I assure you, I do not take lightly. I recognize that this is really hard for parents to do, and that's making time to unwind. We know that our kiddos are kind of absorbing us. So we really have to take some time for ourselves and do things that bring us joy. Sometimes that's in really small doses. We find those little things that can bring us joy, and we have to go with it. Traditions are really important to a lot of families. Um, I kind of challenge you to think about what traditions mean to you and what your traditions bring to you. Do you do it because you just do it, or do you do it because you enjoy it, or your children enjoy it, or your family enjoys it? Thinking about those things that bring joy versus stress and anxiety. When my children were small, like 5 and under, one of the traditions I let go of was the annual Christmas card. To me, I love getting Christmas cards in the mail. I love seeing my friends' kids growing up and extended family members that I don't get to see very often. Those things all bring me joy. But for me, getting the picture around and ordering and addressing, and it was a chore. It was an added list to my responsibilities that brought me stress and anxiety. So I let it go. Um, and that worked for me. And I'm not suggesting that that's what you do for yourself. I'm just saying, think about what brings you joy and what you're doing just because it's a tradition and you do it. Think about if there's anything that you can kind of let go of for this year so you have more time to unwind. Be realistic and accept imperfections. I'm not sure about you all, but I enjoy a occasional, Christmas Hallmark movie. There's maybe a few bumps along the road, but things turn out pretty perfect in the end. And we have to recognize that that's a fictional movie. And anyone that spent any amount of time around young children knows that things don't always come out the way that we have planned. So just kind of being realistic with our expectations, recognizing that no one and no situation is perfect, can be really helpful. Another practice I consider you, or I recommend you consider or look into, is being mindful. When we're mindful, we're just being present in that moment. And this time of year is so hectic and so busy quite frequently that we're often kind of stuck between past, what I did before, what did I get mom last year, all of the what did I do's, what did I forget last year, all of those things in the future. I have 3 weeks and I haven't bought anything for this person. I haven't wrapped anything. Those are all things on my real to-do list. So I assure you that I know those places that we get stuck between past and present, or past and future. So being mindful is being in that present moment. The next slide, there's some resources about mindfulness that you can definitely check out. This isn't something that you have to spend an hour on every day to be able to kind of practice this mindfulness. Um, I I literally sometimes will Google search like 5 minute and under mindfulness activities. And sometimes it'll be guided breathing that I do, or 5 minute gratefulness activities and things like that, that just help me focus on that present moment. There's a lot of newer research out there that tells us there's tons of physical health benefits to being mindful. It also alleviates stress and improves sleep. So, kind of taking all of those things into consideration, and thinking about allowing yourself even just a few minutes every day to kind of practice being mindful. And also, there's been a lot thrown at us this year. So we really have to kind of recognize that and know that if you're not feeling well, if you're struggling to cope in a healthy way, you just don't feel like you can do the things that you want the way you want this year, um, it's okay to look for some professional help. Find someone to talk to. you're not only looking to improve your own mental health by doing that, but that's going to improve your child's as well because they are absorbing you and everything about you. So definitely consider that if you're really kind of feeling extra down or you're just really struggling this year. Ultimately, when it comes to the holidays in 2020, you have to do what's best for you and your household. I would imagine that we all are going to have some decisions to make in the next few weeks about whether gatherings are going on or whether we're attending them and what others are going to think about our decisions. And there's a lot on our plates this year. And I hope everyone has a safe, healthy, and restful holiday season. I'm going to flip to the resources here where I found some really good information about kind of stress management and the holidays. Um, there's a lot of good mindfulness activities and links in this positive psychology link. And feel free to contact me. My email address is here if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.